Driving operational excellency through strategy, technology, and people. Number 1, strategic roadmap 2025. ETG strategy for 2025 is anchored on the 3 transformative pillars of the FIRS: capacity building and training, targeted program designed to upskill staff in line with global best practice in tax administration, infrastructure, facility enhancement, ongoing upgrades to office infrastructure to foster a productive and world-class work environment, technology advancement, expansion of integrated system and deployment of innovative platform to streamline taxpayer services and operations. The CD reviewed the 2024 performance of the group and mentioned that the group achieved 89% of the collection target. Collection target was 496.2 billion naira. Actual collected 439.8 billion naira. He also mentioned some of the key milestones of the 2024. Reorganized 1 tax offices and 102 audit offices. Closure service, efficient portal, timely support, and improved user experience. Risk-based audits, strategic focus on a high-risk areas for improved efficiency. Professional workforce, continuous development of staff capabilities and motivation. The productivity imperative. Professor Farouk delivered a presentation focused on understanding productivity both socially and professionally. He noted that productivity is about focusing on what matters most, maximizing value, not output. Benefit across domain, personal, self-growth, and effective time use. Professional, career advancement and better output. Financial, efficient use of resources and high earning potential. Social, stronger relationships and societal contribution. Challenges, internal, procrastination, perfectionism, burnout. External, distractions, poor planning, unclear expectation. Strategies for improvement, goal setting time, task management, technology moderation, and self-care. Consequences of low productivity, reduced performance, missed opportunities, and increased stress. We also listened to presentation by Angela Edeko on the role of TPRU in improving compliance and background and purpose. It was established in May 2024 under CDETG. The TPRU enhances compliance by reactivating dormant case taxpayer accounts, Core functions: execute CD's approved strategies, analyze bank transaction data to identify viable cases, coordinating national reactivation campaigns, collaborate with internal and external stakeholders, monitor and report progress via tax pro system. Operational highlights as of July 2024. 4,320 new registration via bank data analysis. 2,917 reactivations yielding 2.492 billion naira assessed. Then 2.348 billion naira collected. Sensitization campaign across all geopolitical zones. 49 lien approvals secured. 2025 focus areas. 29,000 inactive taxpayer targeted. Integration of 24 bank data, about 13,751 cases. Collaboration with enforcement units for tough cases. Continued sensitization and stakeholder engagement. Impact: strengthened compliance culture. Boosts in revenue collection. Improve taxpayer trust and system transparency. Alignment and commitment to excellency are critical to achieving this goal. Management remains receptive to innovative ideas and encourage continued engagement across all levels. The 2025 target is achievable. So let's dive in and get it done together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for her once more. It is not easy. She took the first shot and she did justice to it. Thank you very much. I am pleased to announce to you that the big four, as I call them, are around today. All the directors in the group are around today. They were unavoidably absent yesterday. Please, can we put our hands together for them? Sir, can you raise your hands so that they can acknowledge? All right, let's put our hands together for our directors. They are all complete today, and I'm excited to see them today. To take us further very quickly, in 5 minutes, may I call on the Director South. I call him Otumba Dr. Benga Daniel to please come forward for opening remarks. Please put your hands together for him. Director South. He is the co-host.
Good morning, everyone. All right. I'm delighted to stand up here to bring this opening remark. Let me first and foremost appreciate the executive chairman who graciously approved this strategy session for all of us. We've been everywhere in the country. We started from Abuja, we've been to Kano, and we've been to the almighty Lagos. And we're here in the South, the almighty of the almighty South. That's where we're here now. So let's put our hands together for ourselves. I also want to appreciate my very excellent, indefatigable coordinating director, Alhaji Kabir Abba, who is not a boss but a leader, who has demonstrated such uncanny skill in leading this team to be the best and to perform excellently. I give it to you, sir. I appreciate you. I'm very appreciative. They said a tree does not make a forest. He doesn't do it alone. He has his team. So I want to appreciate the team as well for a job well done. You guys have tried. You have done so well. And in helping us and seeing that we do well on the field. Thank you very much. And all the host of other departments, in FIRS who actually been supporting us since we started. We've called upon them. They've given, some of them came and they gave a good account of themselves, presentation and all that, to make sure that we are well equipped and able to discharge our functions effectively. Mr. Olariwaju, the brand new director that have the man that will be monitoring us on the field to see if we are actually doing what we're supposed to do in terms of the process that has been put in place. And the taxpayers department too, the director is not here, but she's been with us all through. So I want to say a big thank you for being part of what we're doing in the emerging taxpayers department. I want us to let us know that this is the fourth session we've had in Lagos, like I said before. The emerging taxpayer, our role can be likened to the role of a mother. Maybe some of us don't even know the role that we play, that our role is very strategic. Can you nurture a child to adulthood, to fulfill purpose, if the mother is not there? It will be very, very, very difficult. So our role in the emerging taxpayer group is more or less like that of a mother who give back to children, who nurture them from cradle, who see that they grow up to become the adult that she will be proud of. So when we nurture and we cultivate all these taxpayers, we then win them over to the medium taxpayer and the large taxpayer. And when they begin to perform in terms of collection, it is the product. We are so proud that we have given back to all these people that are actually giving, the needed revenue to the government. If you didn't do a good job at the infancy level, if you didn't prop them very well, they can't deliver the way they are delivering at the medium and the large tax. So as a mother, what do you do to yourself? You give yourself kudos when you see them. When large taxpayer comes here and say they have made 25 trillion, 35 trillion, I just laugh. Oh, that's because I have trained or have brought up a good taxpayer for you to be able to continue to take care of. Thank you very much. So we educate, from infancy to let them know that, look, you need to be a good citizen. You need to pay your tax as I went due and all that. So that's the role of a mother. And we can't have done all this without all of you. So we want to say a big thank you for what you're doing in your own corner. What you are doing in your corner counts a lot. So let's take it very, very important and make sure that we give ourselves onto it. And I pray that, I know that the Lord will help us to discharge our duty. One of the things that we re-emphasize in the South is the 3 C's. And that has to do with the issue of cooperation, collaboration, and communication. We tend to cooperate with ourselves, we tend to collaborate, and we effectively communicate the mind of management to everyone. And that has actually helped us in delivering and discharging our duty. So on this note, I want to say a big welcome to all of us and to say that we're actually very proud of what you guys are doing. To whom much is given, much is expected. I know we cannot, we have a lot of challenges, but we are not focusing on the challenges, but we are seeing those challenges as a stepping stool to greatness, and that's what we've been doing in the South, and we'll keep on doing it. We want to assure the city that we can and we will, and God will help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for those wonderful words. We can and we will. God helping us. Thank you very much. The directors in a group are seasoned directors, and I'm sure they are directing very well. Are they not? Uyo, can I hear you? Very good. Uyo, are you sleeping this morning? Very good. Our directors not directing well? Lovely. Thank you. And thank you, sir, also for alluding to the testament that just as if you were here yesterday, that our leader here, our boss, is not just a boss, but a leader. Please put your hands together once more for our CD. We celebrate you, your leadership style, sir. Now, if you were not listening before, this is the time you should listen. The next presentation, I want to encourage you to bring out your notepads. You must write because it concerns you all. The next presentation will be on standardization of processes and effective monitoring framework. To do justice to that is one of our newly and freshly promoted directors. He used to be known as the governor, like I said earlier, only that he was existing as the governor without a deputy. And I told him one day that there's a vacancy in your office. Can you make me the deputy governor? And he graciously made me his deputy governor. So please, on that note, may I respectfully invite to the stage the Director, Field Operations Management Department, Mr. Matthew Osaneku. Please put your hands together for him. Sir, you have 30 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, dear colleagues. Good morning, CD, the Big Four directors present. Like you've heard, my name is Matthew Osaneku, Director of Field Operations Monitoring Department. I'm actually very glad to be here. I'm excited anytime I find myself in the midst of great guys and great minds. And they're very elated to stand before you. So my job this morning is very simple. We've been preaching this gospel in all these regions that we've had interaction. We've done this in Lagos, in Kano, in Abuja, and we are here in Uyo. I'm glad to be here. So let me just quickly run through what I have this morning. I'll be speaking to you on driving compliance through standardization of processes and effective monitoring framework. Driving compliance through standardization of processes and effective monitoring framework. So going through this, introduction, vision, mission of FIRS, standardization of tax administration, the SOP that have been released by management, the tool for compliance, the monitoring framework, and performance measurement, outcome, and impact. All right. So, dear colleagues, I'm here to arouse your consciousness that the management is set to begin to do things differently. So, when management came on board, you agree with me that 3 strategic pillars was rolled out. The first pillar is people. The second pillar is process. And the third pillar is technology. So that is the baseline that the management had set to run when they came on board. So with that, they also linked to the global movement. There is a global movement that is need for us to begin to look inwards and mobilize resources. So countries have made up their mind to look inward and mobilize resources. And what is the conclusion? And what was established is that taxation is the only sustainable source of revenue. And that has been accepted globally. And with that, taxation is now also sitting on 3 pivot: the tax policy, tax legislation, and what? And tax administration. So when you have very strong tax policy, robust tax policy, you have a simplified legislation, and you don't have effective tax administration, that tax administration is set to fail. So irrespective of the strong tax policy you have, how robust your tax policy is, Where you don't have an effective tax administration, dear colleagues, that tax authority is set to fail. So I'm glad that management is actually looking towards, and it's need for us to have an healthy tax administration in FIRS. And to have an healthy tax administration, there must be a robust compliance metrics. Because healthy tax administration are rated globally by their compliance metrics. So the rate of compliance of both the taxpayers and also tax officials in processes. So where there is a shallow tax compliance metrics, it means that tax authority is also tends to fail. So dear colleagues, the compliance metrics are into two components. The component is monitoring and enforcement. So when you roll out policies, when you roll out processes, when you roll out procedure, and there is no monitoring of that process or procedure, sincerely, officers tend to do things the way they feel they need to do that stuff. So if you do not inspect, expectation may be predictable. So inspection is part of an healthy tax administration. So there's a link between tax compliance and tax revenue. So where you don't comply, it means that tax authority, the compliance level may be low. So if the compliance level is low, it means tax revenue will also be low. So the higher the tax compliance, the higher the tax revenue. So also research has also shown that tax compliance is also stimulated by standardization of processes and simplified processes. So if your process is not standardized, your process is not uniform. That is, your processes in Uyo is different from your processes in Lagos. Or your process in Lagos is different from that of Abuja. And that of Abuja is different from that of Kano. That is not the global best practice. So global best practice is for us to have a uniform process, a uniform policy, and a uniform procedure. So there are 3 P's that we are set to standardize: the policies, the processes, and the procedure. It is therefore imperative to drive voluntary compliance through standardization and effective monitoring framework. So our job in FOMD, Field Monitoring Operations Department, is to set the standards, roll out the standards, roll out the practice notes, and monitor compliance. We are the third eye, the eagle eye of management, looking at your operations. And we are set to do things differently, and we are committed to this drive. So dear colleagues, let's have an exchange of mindset. There's need for us to upscale what we've asked to do. Let me move very fast. So we talk about tax compliance, that is the art of adhering to tax law regulations, accurate reporting of income and expenses, financial details to tax authority in a timely and consistent manner. Why compliance monitoring of field operations entails inspecting, assessing. So underline the word inspecting, assessing, and tracking, and implementing management policies, standards, and procedures. So our job is to inspect. We'll be coming around to check your compliance to the processes that have been set up by management. And we are set to drive it, and we are committed to this call, because that will form part of our KPI this year. So, and we are set to do that. So our job, like I said, is to ensure implementation of standards across the service. It's doable, it's achievable, and my team are set to work this out. So, and what is the essence of monitoring and inspecting and assessing and tracking? Is to ensure voluntary compliance and behavioral compliance of field officers to drive optimal tax revenue. So behavioral compliance is very key. There's need for a change of mindset, change of behavior. So behavioral change is part of this process. Let's change the way of doing things and also shift our minds that this is doable and also workable. So let's move very, very fast. So let me move. So what is the driver? So the driver of this change, like I said, when Manime came on board, is to be counted as one of the world's most efficient and trusted revenue agency in the world. If that is a key driver, it means we must walk the talk. Very imperative. We must walk the talk. So vision is telling you the direction of where we are going. And where you don't walk the talk, talk is cheap. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's very imperative that we drive this process. And also we are committed to a fair tax administration to responsive and accessible service to optimize revenue for national development. So these are key drivers. So we need to be responsive. We need to be accessible, to provide accessible service to our customers. So therefore, it is very imperative. That's why yearly target is also one of the key drivers. So we need to begin to push, because currently our tax to GDP ratio is below the African average. The African average is about 16%. Nigeria tax to GDP moved from 6% to 7.5, 7.5 to 9, and now we are hovering at 10.0%. The average in Africa is 16%. And government is set to move this trajectory from the current 10% to about 18% in the next 3 years. And we need to push by meeting our target. Our target for this year is 25.2 trillion. And we know that it's achievable. Dear colleagues, and the OECD baseline is 34%. So there's need for us to push to be counted as one of the most trusted revenue agency in the world. So we need to push, and we need to also cascade down to our colleagues, dear colleagues. So let's move on to the standards set by management. So, like I said, standardization is one of the key to begin to measure how healthy that tax administration is. So instead of our approach, we streamline processes, it will reduce complexities of compliance, and also drive effective delivery, effective service delivery. Let our taxpayer begin to have a new experience. Let us taxpayer begin to perceive FIRS as a new brand, as a new bride. And it starts from you. From a taxpayer's service desk, as you walk into your office, as you treat them. Let the perception index of FIRS increase. That's how you measure the tax administration. And also entrench transparency of what you do. Because every government and every institution is moving We are moving to the level where technology begins to connect each other and talk to each other. So what is the essence of standardization? One, to entrench and to enhance compliance and reduce tax compliance gap, because the lower the tax compliance gap, the higher the revenue. So our compliance gap is also very high. Nigerians, our tax morale in Nigeria is also very low. So, and that can change just by from your desk and from your table. All right. The next thing is to entrench uniformity and consistency across the service. We want to ensure that the same process that is done in the north, same process in the east, in the south, in the south-south, in the southeast, southwest, and every part of the country. Also to ensure that we reduce administrative burden, so everybody knows what to do at any point in time. And when you know what to do, it reduces administrative burden and also ensure transparency and accountability of what you're doing. So you know what to do per time. So that is what standard does. And also improve our customer centricity policy of the service, and also to increase efficiency and reduce revenue risk. So there is high revenue risk, and there's need for us to reduce it. So where revenue risks are reduced, it what increase, improve revenue collection. So let me move very fast to the new bride. So the SOP is the new bride of management. And we've been given a task. If you look at the SOP that have been rolled out, in 3.0, Field Operations Monitoring Department was given that power to ensure compliance of the standard operating procedure that have been released by management. So the SOP has 13 processes. The processes are 6 structures: introduction, objective, policies, procedure, the input and output, and the KPI. So the introduction speaks to that process. Objectives speak to the goals that process is set to achieve. The policy is what is the policy direction, the policy drive, or what they call thematic area of that process. And the next one is the procedure, the step-by-step that it takes you to what for each of those processes. Then the input and output are the documents that are going to be processed and the report that will be generated. Then the KPI is how we'll come after to measure whether you are complying with all these processes. So as I speak to you, my team has also developed a checklist. A checklist that will be used to measure compliance of each of these processes. And the first thing we're doing now is to go around and sensitize our field officers to create that enlightenment about these processes. So after that, we'll come back and monitor compliance. We are ready and we are set to drive this. Dear colleagues, I won't bore you with all these 13 processes. The SOP have been unveiled. It's now in info, it has been shared in the info, and also it's now in intranet. So when you go through your intranet, the SOP is also there. So we also have an interaction with technology department to make it more interactive, to use technology to also push that so that we can have that interaction with the SOP. So the first process is taxpayers registration. So we want to ensure that taxpayer registration are automated, and where taxpayers come through various channels, whether they walk in or they have access to the tax promax, it should be automated. Because we want to move into the level where we call counted amongst the leading in Africa. Because the level of tax administrations are rated by automation. So initially we were at emerging. How do you measure a tax administration? There are 5 layers. The first layer is called emerging. That is when you are doing your operations manually. The next layer is called progressing, where you are now using both manual and automation, right? The third one is called established, where you are now doing your tax administration processes with a solution. So thanks to the tax program solution that drives. So we want to ensure all our taxpayer registration are done, online. So but also where the taxpayer cannot access, where taxpayer is having difficulty, every tax office should have a desk where a taxpayer can walk in, and also you assist the taxpayer to register. So we'll also be measuring all taxpayers that you register for that month, and also whether each tax office have a dedicated desk that should register taxpayers that either could not read or write, or have language issue, or have access issue. Please ensure that that desk is created in all field offices. The next one is taxpayers inquiries. Taxpayer inquiry is also very key because that is the feedback from taxpayers. So taxpayers inquiry is very key. When they send inquiry, inquiries could be a general inquiry, it could be technical inquiry, it could be complaint. Dear colleagues, the SOP has said that where taxpayers send in inquiries, you must respond within 24 hours. That is to make the tax authority efficient. That to make your office efficient. You must respond within 24 hours. So also at the end of each month, we'll be checking the number of inquiries that comes into your office and how efficient are you in responding. But where is complaint can be treated within 3 days. That also will be measured. Taxpayer education and outreach. taxpayer outreach, the essence of all this is to increase our tax revenue base. When the base is expanded, it will lead to improved tax revenue. So also some of those outreach are now institutionalized, like the Tax Thursdays. We'll be working with taxpayers department to ensure that every second Thursday of the month, you go out there to work for the outreach, do your workshop, and also bring in more taxpayers. So that's also be measured. The next one is taxpayer segmentation. So the essence of taxpayer segmentation and account management is to begin to allocate annual turnover revenue bracket for each taxpayer segmentation. The emerging taxpayers, the government and medium taxpayers group, the large taxpayers group. So the emerging taxpayers group, the turnover that have been signed off by management is 0 to less than 1 billion. So any turnover that is less than 1 billion that remain consistent for 3 years should be moved to the next group. Look like you heard from the director, Emerging Tax South, that yours is to nurture. Yours is to give birth, nurture, see them grow, and ensure that that is done. As they grow over that bracket, you move to the next taxpayer classification and taxpayer segmentation. So the essence of this, because each of these groups, taxpayers at various layers, the growth layer, has their needs and complexities. So you can't use the same approach, in auditing emerging tax with the same approach to audit large tax. So each of them has their complexities, their needs, and their approaches are different. So to ensure that that is done, and we will also be given that mandate to ensure that that is done. So what we are doing for the first quarter and part of the second quarter is to create that awareness and also to ensure that our field office also comply with this. And also returns processes, return filing and processing is also one of the processes. Let me run very fast. To ensure that where a taxpayer files its returns, you have to review the tax returns 100% within 3 months. So where you cannot review the tax returns within 3 months, you need to escalate. For CIT, review 3 months. For VAT, review every other month. Because taxpayer file returns every month. Monitor and track whether a taxpayer files his VAT and withholding tax returns monthly. Because, for instance, if a taxpayer that has been making payment every month fails to file, it reduces the expected revenue for that month. And you have a ripple effect on the global revenue within the service. So yours is to ensure that you continue to monitor the taxpayers and ensure that they file their returns on a monthly basis for VAT and other transitional taxes. Therefore, CIT ensure that they file annually. As soon as the taxpayer is registered, that taxpayer is under your purview until that taxpayer writes to you that has ceased business. We are interested in that taxpayer. So there's need for you to begin to align the taxpayer. Those are active, those are inactive, and those are presumed dead. They are not dead until they file their cessation account. So until that taxpayer files cessation account, that taxpayer is still active or either inactive. So until they file cessation account, and you also need to also go and audit that cessation account. So there is need for you to also have that context. So let me run very fast. Tax audit. Another area that we've also asked to check and also to monitor is tax audit quality. So the SOP has a list of the process, starting from case selection to approvals to visit to the field office and all the processes that need to be done. So, and we've been asked to ensure that we improve the quality of audit and reduce audit cycle. So audit cycle is very wide. They ask us to reduce it and also to ensure that we improve the quality of audit. Dear colleagues, we picked some files. We did some sample, we got some files, and what we saw was not interesting at all. What we saw was that sometimes you see the letter to the taxpayer, you won't see working paper file, you only see audit file, no working paper file, no document file. The document is not referenced. The audit, you just see the letter to the company, you see the LOI and an assessment. That needs to change to ensure that all your records are referenced, are cross-referenced, are paged, are numbered. Another one we saw was that there was minutes of meeting, no date and no signature. That is not correct. We need to also ensure that that is done. Let me run very fast. Please ensure that the audit quality is improved going forward. So the SOP has rolled out the processes that need to be. So tax investigation is also set on triggers. Debt monitoring and recovery is also part of our job to ensure that where debts are above 90 days, please move to debt management. We did a pilot recently in one of the offices in Gariki. So we went in there and we are very pleased that that office has a debt register. So that monitor the progress of debt. Please ensure that every office have that. Then also there's need for you to know that the law enforcement agencies are also working with us where taxpayers are not cooperating. Please use them. Then objection management. We've seen that where the objection threshold is for emerging tax, 200 million and below, for the CD, now also for MTG and the government medium tax group, where the turnover threshold is below 300 million, the CD handles any from that, the directors handles. For large tax group, the threshold is that where the objection is above 500 million, the CD handles, but below that, the directors. And let me run that tax refund to be refunded within 30 days. Non-resident taxpayers will ensure to also monitor all that. Then filing, physical file management to ensure that all our records are secured in a safe and system, and also to ensure when we are disposing, we should dispose it within 7 years. And before you dispose, scan the document and also score. So let me run through in the next 5 minutes. So like what I've mentioned is about compliance checks. So this is what we'll be checking to ensure that you monitor, we monitor all these. Please, this will be shared to everyone. Then for the audit process quality checks, we'll be checking your planning, your periodic meeting, the work you have done on the field, the exit meeting, interim reports also be checked, summary of findings, reconciliation, to the letter of intent, additional assessment, to objection, and also be checking audit cycle. So all these are to ensure that our processes are streamlined. Let me run very fast. So this is the deployment process. We have started the deployment. We have done the deployment stage. We have done the trainer. The refresher course is ongoing. Then now we are moving around all offices across the Federation. So very soon we'll also be visiting the South-South, the Southeast to also be part of this process. After that, we will now be monitoring adopting all those processes. We'll also be tracked, will be assessed, and also be evaluated. And after evaluation, we also show the impact of adoption. So that also do periodic monitoring adoption, then we'll be measuring performance, and also we're looking at the impact and also look at the output. So let's move very fast. So how do we do our work? Let me run very fast now. So quality checks. One, we plan for every field office, we have your records. We have access to transformers now. We are seeing what you're doing. So the only one we have not have access to, which management is also trying to do that, is audit. So the next one is we collect quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data is those data, numbers and figures. And also, we also get qualitative data, some of those issues that impede you from, achieving that process. The next one is we identify adoption gaps and we try to close our gaps. The next one is to address compliance gaps through intervention. Also be writing reports to management and working through the CDs to ensure that you do your job optimally. Then also we look at the outcome intervention and also we evaluate impact. So this is the process and it's been approved for us to do this, and we are committed to drive this going forward. So let's move down. So these are your measurement metrics. I'll not waste your time on this. So for filing, we'll be measuring the number of files that you have in your office, also amount of taxpayers that are filed, the improvement of filing. I want to announce this, that for the first quarter, our filing improvement in FIRS has improved. From where we are to the figure, but the total improvement is over 6% globally. Both the large tax, medium tax, government and medium tax, and the emerging tax. So that is one of the key efforts. And over 8,970 non-filers are filed within the first quarter. So that is a plus. And because of our push, we are seeing results, we are seeing impact. And as they file, it improves revenue collection. So let me run through. So audits and investigation quality checks, improvement of audit quality that I've mentioned, and also the audit cycle will also be measured. So intervention gaps will also be measured. So the SOP adoption in your office, both at the field office, the tax office, and the audit will also be, so we look at the improvement on how you are doing your report before and how you have improved. So that is also be checked. Then lastly, we've been asked to be sending independent persons. They are not staff, they are not consultants. They will come into your offices unknowing to you. So we're giving us a third-party feedbacks and tell your taxpayers units to be courteous, very responsive, to ensure that they play safe. When I mean play safe, that is ensure that you do things correctly. Because you don't know who will give a feedback and directly to management. It may come to us or we come to management to ensure that that is done. So I'm going to wrap up. And now, these are some of our metrics, collection of data, analysis of data interface, and also be giving data to check what is going on in the field office. And we're checking this. We analyze the data, interface, evaluate, and check impact. Let me close, dear colleagues. So like I said, the compliance for all the groups has improved from 56%, it's now over 60% globally when we aggregate all the groups. It's over, so this is as of January. So the January was our baseline, and we have seen improvement, we have seen the outcome, we have seen the impact. So let's move on to the measurement framework as I close. So this one has been approved also. So the next letter that will be coming to you, if your compliance level is below 50%, you are not performing. If it's between 50 to 60%, your filing is average. Filing between 60 to 79% is above average. Then where you now hit 80%, it means you are not now performing. So we've also been asked to begin to get a list of offices that are high performance, that are above 90%. So dear colleagues, this is a call for action. It's doable, it's achievable. And all we just need is the 3 C's that the Director of Emerging Taxpayer South have mentioned: continuous collaboration, continuous communication, and also to ensure, so is the third one, continuous collaboration, communication, and what? And what? Cooperation. So collaboration, communication, and cooperation. So with joint effort, we are certain that together we can build a well-structured institution that will be counted as one of the most trusted and efficient tax administration in the world. We can do it. It's doable, it's achievable, and it starts with you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Please, can you put your hands together once more for Mr. Osaneku for that very brilliant and wonderful presentation. Thank you. I told you earlier, the CD has saved the best for the last. The series of presentations selected for today are very incisive presentations, very direct presentations that will really resonate with you. I hope you took down notes and questions. Before we take your questions, It's time for another very important presentation. This particularly is a very important presentation, and I think you should give it your utmost attention. Now, the presentation will be on data analytics and relevance to tax collection and compliance. To do justice to this topic is also one of our best brains, like I said earlier, a freshly and newly promoted director. Please put your hands together for Mr. Saliu Olarinwaju, the Director, Tax Data Management Department. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward to do justice to his paper.
Thank you very much. Let me stand on existing protocol. However, our amiable CD, the Big Four so-called, and very senior directors, other directors, tax controllers, head of audits, every participant. I'm excited to be at this conclusive part of the ETG retreat. Before us is a few minutes, 30 minutes or less, to talk about the relevance of data analytics to revenue collection and tax compliance. Without much ado, we are all aware that data analytics has become a crucial tool in modern tax administration. It helps tax authorities to enhance compliance, detect fraud, optimize revenue collection, and the volume of data, information that need to be processed, not only from tax authorities globally, is increasing at a very rapid pace. And that has made terminologies like big data, data analytics to be something that is coming to the fore. What is big data? Big data is the kind of data that you cannot mentally compute. Yes, you know, we were using four-figure table. You remember, from there we had calculators. We have computers that have Excel that can take several thousands of rows of data. But these big data have exceeded the limits of these ordinary computations, and so require skills that can manipulate them and bring out insights. Such data are referred to as big data. We, by now, will have been familiar with this journey from 1.0 to 3.0, our journey to automation and tax administration. The pace have moved from paper computation, tax administrative focus, to customer-centric taxpayer focus, and from 2.0, where taxpayers can probably file, make payments online, to 3.0, where we are talking about e-invoicing and other modern areas where, as transactions are taking place, the tax components are also being computed, and where is an immediate tax is computed and charged, and where it is a future tax is kept for future payment. The roles of data and its analytics in the tax administration function, we will just use some kind of phrases to describe them to bring the fact home. It was a catchphrase in the last decade, but this decade is all about data, big data, and it's important for your departments. Of course, we are aware that the new oil now is data, and that, of course, oil in its ordinary form is almost not useful until it is processed. So the same thing, data must pass through analysis and processing. The insights are brought out before they become useful. And if, like Dangote refinery, is the processing for oil, then the tax data department is the refinery for data. So we process it and bring out the facts for us. Data extraction, cleansing, transmission, storage, controls, and privacy will become topics every head of tax needs to be proficient in. Of course, the process of extraction, cleansing, transmission, storage, controls, we will do that for you. However, for its privacy, we should make sure that taxpayer data are kept. That is why, for those that are familiar with exchange of mails, when you send mail and you say, Isolo, ETO, at firs.gov.ng, you send to me and you are asking for data, I will say I rather prefer that one person in that particular tax office asks for the data. I want to know who received it, not the solo. Everybody, I don't know how many people are in a solo. I don't know who I'm sending the data to. I don't know who should be held responsible if the data get leaks. So that is why most times